You are watching Jam Football Fans TV with your host Lamin Baro from Reading, UK. Movie.
There we are.
Hello.
Yeah, are you hearing us loud and clear?
Yes. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. We can hear you. I was hoping that I would see you. See, behind the scenes, all of course. I've never heard you speaking all of awesome.
No, Ki Angela.
No, interview you want degree Angela. So I'm like, okay, maybe that would be my chance.
Don't go Olaf. They gonna Olaf there. Matarr, they gonna Olaf.
Ras, please.
Olaf.
Anyway, are we on?
That's new life. We are on
live. Yeah? Well, New Live, welcome everyone who's watching. This is Straight Talk. Tema Vineka Suma veteran Buba. And obviously we have a very interesting a set of topics today. And our guest is Coach Matarr Mboge. It's already a pleasure to having you here, Matarr.
Well, thank you, Ras. Well, happy to be here with you guys.
That's nice. And we also have Habibi Kohamne is a regular here. Sana minge smile too because my wanna chohuin Matarr I all of you know, but we would keep it English. Sana today mungama nuyul suma Mboge sauce before we start.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh. Matarr ñu ngi la sant di la gërëm si sa honors invitation bi and before ñu ngi la dalal bu baax di also dalal film fans ñëpp ñoo xam ne ñu ngi ñoo seetaan right now si seen programme bi Straight Talk di jaajëfal suma brother rek Ras ak suma partner in crime Habibi Fall also suñ fans out there ñu ngi leen a nuyu ku nekk sa tur ak sa santa bari wol comme Ras ya fa ñaamel rek natal le côté que la programme auto Straight Talk ngal be bisima ñi programme auto jang ñi Gambian football kachalong because football mu ñoo ko rodial so wala nan na rajan bi côté que mu rutona ali jang pour que programme ñi pour que continuer comme Ras ya fa ñaamel rek nga mo kuma ba so don kono coach Matarr Mboge being alone he's a former under 20 coach the coach I don't even know what to say but now don't coach Matarr Mboge the under 20 coach and then nga so don kono janne and the former Real de Banjul. Ras, back to you.
Thank you so much. And guys, like I said, today we would be having Matarr Mboge here, and we are going to talk about the presidency, GFCA presidency, boom, Ambuyagut, and congratulations, coach, for that. And also then talk about GFF regional tour at Gambia versus Sierra Leone. Matarr, we would love to have you, but if you have any engagement after that area, the GFCA presidency, you are allowed to go and with any other activity you have. Guys, just a brief rundown. A lot of people know Matarr, but just to remind the person, the people watching, the person we have on board here. 2018 WAFU U20 tournament champ in Liberia, and gis nañ ne xale mi ñoo nekkoon the only team boo xam ne they were unbeaten si tournament boobu noonu. Matarr nekk tamit coach boo xam ne he is the first Gambian to win the international trophy and also the youngest coach to achieve this accolade. Maa ngi foog ne ba tey lii nekk na loo xam ne moom moo ko amee ba tey. 2019 you finished in 3rd place in Guinea, but 2021 you picked up the WAFU championship again door ñoo xam ne ñoo nekk Sénégal xam ne diggante Gambia Sénégal daf dee over saf door leen seen biir dëkka proceed to the U20 Nation Cup in 2021 foofu noonu tam def na ndam dem na ba semi-final door ñi nga xam ne ñoom ñoo eventually jël ndam li waaye ñaaka at guys ci semi final bi dem nañ ba nga gis ne am na fa a respectable finish, a heroic reception bu mu dellu see tamit biir Gambia. That right there sounds like a topic boo xam ne man dam ko bëgg a waxtaane waaye tey dañ am Matarr fii pour ñu waxtaane affaire yi présidentielle bi xam nga si GFCA bi. So ñu dem rek door la first question buñ am fii extremely a highly rated coach on the pitch boobu moom réerewut mbir kenn. I've also heard the good managerial, the good leadership you have si campi, no de manager ndoi, no de managers of staff si. As the president of the GFCA, what qualities are you bringing in this for this role?
Well, thanks so much, Raz, Habib, and Sana. You know, that's, you know, I know you guys are doing very well in your platform, so that's why I said I have to join today. In terms of the question that you put there, Raz, I think I'm just here trying to raise the level and the standard of coaches in the Gambia. That's going to be my major task. I'm answerable to all the members of the GFCA. That's the coaches. And just like any group of players that I've managed to have in the past, I want to improve you as an individual, as a person, and then as a footballer. My philosophy is, you know, for people who work with me, you know, it's not just about making you a better technician in terms of on the pitch or even as a coach. It's also improving your qualities as a human being. And I try to lead by example. I try to act in a way that, you know, I treat others the way that I would also want them to treat me. So those are some of the things that I want to instill in some of the coaches, because it's worked so far. I'm not saying that everybody has to be a carbon copy of me. You know, that's not going to be possible. But I think there's certain philosophies and certain standards that I can help transfer to other coaches that hopefully they can also bring to their clubs, organizations, academies, or wherever they're working. And as I said, the major objective is to increase the quality and the standard of coaches. And personally, I really think that coaches in this country are undervalued and underpaid. Club owners maybe would not like me to hear that, but it's a very difficult job that we're doing. And it seems like it's not being respected and it's not being remunerated the way that it should be. And there's a lot of coaches out there, and I talk to them and I learn about the job they're doing, and then they tell me they're not even being paid. And you know, to me, that's, I'm sorry, you're taking advantage of that individual. So these are some of the things that we want to try to clarify and raise that awareness and education amongst the coaches, the members, and then also to the wider body, so the clubs, the organizations that they're working with as partners.
That's very right, and I can already say the show Straight Talk for someone Watani Lende Bugadiga. You know, I know from your interviews, I know what we were going to get. We were going to get straightforwardness and all this stuff. So show be num dore man already like Nako, and I know they have you be at Sana like Nako.
Absolutely.
I got a few words from someone who know your personality, your work ethic, and stuff. A line from former GFCA president Paso RFI during your award ceremony. He said, "We are very proud to have such a hard-working young personnel as a coach, and thus the need to motivate him in his endeavors. I am certain association, but they are very proud right now. Yeah, I'm a leadership role. What will motivate Matarr Mboge to execute his duties in the most effective ways?"
That's a very good question, and as I said before, it's about raising the standards. And for me, for such a long time, you know, the coaches in this country, you know, some of them are no longer with us. You know, the likes of Bonu Johnson, the likes of the late Lamin Sarr, Sol Kiate. You know, when you think about all the struggles that they went through, and in the end, you know, it was sacrificing your time away from your family. I just want to bring this profession, raise the standard of this profession in this country, so that there's other potentially maybe players in the game now, or anybody who has an interest and passion for coaching, who loves football. It's a viable profession. It's a worthy profession. It's an honorable profession. Sana is out there in the US. He can tell you more than anyone about how coaches are held in high regard in that country. And it's not just the US, it's all over the world. Because the minute that these boys, these young players, they're children in effect, when you're working with young players, even when you work with senior players, the time you're working with them, you are the father, you're the mother, you're the grandfather, the grandmother, the uncle, you're the brother. You are just everything to them at that time. And a lot of relationships, you actually have more influence on them than their immediate family. So it's a huge job. It's a huge responsibility. And sometimes that weight, coaches, we don't understand it so much, or we don't respect it. Football is a very jealous game. You have to devote your time and your energy to the cause and to developing yourself in terms of learning different systems, different styles, philosophies, how you coach. There's so many different things. What would be great for me at the end of my tenure is to have an association that is widely regarded in this country as being one of the best. And why? Because we have a vibrant membership. We have a strong membership base. We don't get involved in all of the politics. There's no infighting. There's no people looking for position here, position there. All the backbiting that maybe you see in other associations. It's normal. It's when you're dealing with human beings, these things happen. Even in the football team, you have your different groups, or you can have camps. Let's say whatever you want to call it. But for me, it's about raising the level. And I just, sorry to repeat myself, but I really do think that Parfai has done a fantastic job under difficult circumstances also, especially for a long period of time. And it's just a case of taking the baton from him and his team, who also I'm working with some members of the previous team, the previous executive, and let's try to do our best to take it a step further. And that's why I'm motivated, because I've seen coaches here in this country who are doing fantastic work, and they should also be rewarded, and they should also be suitably engaged in terms of the quality work that they're doing. A couple of years back, I took it upon myself to just say, look, there's not any motivation for these coaches in the second division. And at the time, my philosophy was that the coaches in the second division, they're struggling and they're working even harder than those in the first division. So I would go around, and I had a coach of the month, and I would take money from my own pocket, and I would go and meet coaches and give them that award. And Raz, there were people who I would give presentation to, and they would be in tears, so emotional that somebody is taking the time out to say, listen, my friend, you're doing a good job. And that's all it was, something so simple.
I don't mean to cut you, but I'm already having goosebumps from that. I can see why they are emotional.
Definitely, because yes, it doesn't matter where the money came from, but this was me. I was sponsoring it. I just said to myself, let me reward these coaches who are working so hard in the second division and not getting their awards. What's the motivation for that coach in the second division who maybe is a volunteer? And obviously the team they're working with, they want to get to the first division. So what's the motivation for that coach? And definitely you can see it when you went to go speak to them and you get in the certificate and the celebration drink and the money as well. I think the money was just a bonus for them. It was just the recognition that, okay, wow, I'm the coach of the month for this month. And then that also motivated them to work even harder to say, listen, I want to win this every month. And then gradually we went to the GFF with that as well. So it was across the first and second division, but there were issues in terms of sustainability and the finance behind it. We had some huge challenges there, unfortunately. And so it died down a little bit. They wanted it to be resurrected again. But honestly, I had lost the energy because I knew that this was a worthwhile cause, and I didn't understand why my guys were so not willing to support it, because you could clearly see the benefits. It wasn't anything that would be politically motivated. It's something that happens every country you go to. There's a coach of the month, there's a player of the month. It's motivation. It helps you to raise the standards. And thank goodness Sana came in with the GFCA for this past season. Started with the first division coaches, then went to the second division coaches as well. Continues it. I've seen the Players Association as well have done their awards. These things, I mean, I don't know when we're going to start to normalize these things in our country. What is so difficult in telling somebody, my friend, you're doing a fantastic job, keep it up? You know, the worst that could happen is the guy turns around and says, well, okay, let me go and try to see if I can do better.
Yeah.
So is that not going to raise the standards across the board? And these are just some of the things. For example, one idea that we had that we're going to try to put in is to have a coaching hall of fame. Sana will know in the American system they have a coach hall of fame for all the sports. Yeah. So, but it's like it's not so regular and it's not so big. It's like it's a select thing. So every year you have maybe 5 or 6 coaches you can induct into this hall of fame, because we have to start recognizing the work the coaches have done. And you should, and you should start chronologically. So coaches who started off in the 60s, 70s, maybe they're not around, maybe they have to be awarded posthumously. But these are just some of the things that, as part of what we're trying to do, is to recognize the hard work that this job entails.
Definitely. And listening to you over time, I've heard a lot of respect. And definitely, I agree with you. Habibi, since you always echo this: equal treatment, respect. Even the last time you expanded on this, foreign coaches being treated a lot better than African or Gambian coaches. Habibi, join a new example for the last time, sir, about these coaches. We have the opportunity to sit with Matarr. Let it be your show, Habibi.
Yeah, it's been always a pleasure to be with people like Matarr, who sacrificed their time and everything. He was in UK. He could have stayed in UK and then just be a normal person and work and earn his living, but he chose to come back home to give back to his people and his community, which is something we have to always remind the people that he could have been like any other Gambian, been outside, and you could stay there as long as you want. But for Matar's case, it's really, 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 really something we should be talking about. Since he came back to Gambia, some of the things he achieved is beyond imagination. But like I said, in our country, we don't like to hit places where it's true. I always emphasize this. We have to give back to our people. We have to support our people. We have to appoint them. We have to pay them. We have to pay them, and we have to pay them big. I always emphasize giving back to our Gambian coaches because they are the future. And I did mention typical example of some African coaches within the continent. They are doing far better than those Tubabs they used to hire and pay them thousands of euros or dollars. The last time I talk about Aliou Cissé of Senegal, the amount of games he lose is, I don't even think 4 or 5 after so many years. Back-to-back AFCON, he went to the final, he went to the semi-final. He's most likely he might be going back to the World Cup, back-to-back World Cup. And he's just a local coach because of the Senegalese belief in him. So he's delivering. The same applies to the coach of Algeria. The list goes on. So for me, I don't have any problem with foreign coaches, but I think it's about time we also look back and give chances to our very own coaches, because the amount of money being paid to these coaches is huge. It's a lot. And if a Gambian coach asks for 100,000 or 150, they said, no, you cannot earn more than us. This is what some of our authorities are saying, that our local coaches cannot earn more than them. You understand? But you can pay Tom 10,000 euros, over $500,000 easy, without thinking that he's earning more than you. But you don't want a local coach to earn such money to make a living, buy a compound, and enjoy him or herself in the country. So these are things that I cannot understand, Ras. Why our people cannot just support our own products. So for Matarr being the new president, I don't know what I heard he did mention some of his targets for the future, but one of the most important components is to give value to our coaches.
Definitely.
Especially the national team coaches, because everything has to start from the national team. So it will trickle down to the league. If the national team coaches are not respected, they are not paid, some of them are only working on engagements, it's really unacceptable.
And man, Fofula Bugona last because the last time, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm going to ask Sana this question. Sana is currently coaching right now in the US. Man, coach now you coach now college level, coach now club. Years ago, there was no time that they offered me a job and they say it's going to be on pay as you coach basis. Because the last time we know what time for I don't want to coach Alaji. Is it Silla or Sar? What's his name? Sar. If he paid as he coach, Lolo contract.
Engagement, 25,000 per
engagement. Sana balal manga duga si lolu nono. Would you do that, Sana?
Well, Ras, to answer your question, no. On top of it, I would say that's really disappointing with the caliber of the coaching question here. The coffee per engagement that shows you that come the Matarr, how low we look upon of our Gambian coaches for long. For long term, I won't be defending coaches. It's not about defending the coaches, it's about knowing the struggle they went through year in, year out. It's about how people look at us in the Gambia. We are not important, and it sucks that man how people look at us and the way that how difficult our job is and the sacrifice we all go through in the country. I mean, it's astounding that we still in those ages. But if I look around now, I saw the people that are coming in to take leadership of the Coaches Association. I'm gonna get a deep breath. Okay, I think it's we will be moving in the right direction. No matter what, first of all, the first important thing that we have to respect ourselves. Respect has to start from ourselves. And I think this is something I believe Matarr knows because he's been in this system long enough. I remember the first day he came into GFF, and I have seen like a huge impact that he have made. And then I think him coming to the Coaches Association, it's a big plus because I have always known him to be someone who is very dynamic and someone who is always willing to change to make things to the right move things to the right direction. Yeah, there are challenges. Personally, I don't talk about Coaches Association because I was a registered member since 2001. Up till date, I have served the association in different capacities, different from a member, like an ordinary member to an co-opted member to an executive member. So I have seen it all. But the fact is, we have to be factual as Gambian coaches to ourselves. We have to be real. I'm not challenges. Matarr is aware, and I'm not going to talk about that. That's an internal issue. So if we can talk, then these are things you have. We will deal with it in our house, and we will always deal with it in our house. But to sum it all, it's been a struggle to the Coaches Association. There are a lot of things you have. It's going wrong, and I feel then they feel we are not treated right well. There are a group of coaches that did the C license, the CAF B license, and stuff. But you can just turn around and any Tom, Dick, and Harry and move them to coach in the 4th division, which shouldn't happen. And I can tell you this, man, personally, I was tasked to write letters to the GFF, you know, to make sure that you regularize Lulu. Because the league needs to set that standard. We need to set that standard. You cannot invest in coaches, you train, you invest in Harris, Janga, got the qualification, and yet still anybody could just come in and coach in the country. Then where are we heading to? Where are we heading to? Matarr knows about this, and these are not things that someone even has to tell him. And the authorities needs to help us, because GFCA is an allied association to the GFCA is an allied association to the GFF. You come up with programs and say to them they have to implement it. They are the implementers. In fact, you try to do why come they don't respect the GFCA, and that is something that has to break. In fact, we are partners, and they need to give them the support it requires to move on, because they have the qualities, we have the capabilities.
Sana, let me just on that point very quickly, because what you said is exactly coming to pass. The technical director has already come up with a proposal to make sure that next season, this coming season, that all head coaches should be minimum C license, and then the following season it goes to B license, and then second division to C license. Now the issue comes when he sends that to the administrators, who are also club owners and they're also part of clubs. Now you know that if you cannot bring a C license coach to your club and have that guy as a volunteer, you can get away with it if they're not qualified. And then he just does whatever. You can get away with it, you understand, because they're not qualified. But now you have to bring in qualified coaches. Part of the training and part of what we're going to inculcate them at GFCA is that get a contract, especially if you're at the first division level. Now, are the administrators who are also responsible for putting in these policies about minimum C, minimum B, are they ready to sacrifice, I guess, their interests, because they're gonna have to delve into their pockets or find the money somewhere to pay these coaches? But is there going to be a willingness to do that from their side in terms of the policy? Because they're the ones who are responsible in terms of bringing that in. The technical director can just come up with his idea and he can give the recommendation, but he is not the one who can do that in terms of making that a requirement to the league. It's the same when you go to CAF. Yeah,
I completely agree. He can only come up with strategies to make sure that you remedy the situation. But it will come down to one thing: the administrators have the powers to implement those policies. And I think it is high time for them to understand that football goes with standard, and those standards, these are protocols to observe.
Definitely.
Okay, and then you know, I'm quite happy. I know the technical. I know of this, and it's good that it's coming into effect this season. And the administrators need to do their utmost best to make sure that this is implemented. Because one Islamic coaches pay $200 in the Gambia, $200 in the Gambia, $10,000 is sacrifice a family. Man, be mad at B license. Be mad at where they are. Some of the coaches don't even buy a ram for a Tobaski just to pay for that cost. It pains. Nga gis na ñu ay sa jaboti pour ñu Tobaski ñu dugal ko ci football pour ñu jàng ñu mëna acquire license bobu nonu, because it's been said a license, if you don't have a license you wouldn't coach at certain level, and they are also and they are quality coaches. How would you feel as a family? You know, it's sad, but they just have to help.
Dama buga laite, Matarr can help, Sana can help too. I know fee jobs you bury, they have a union. The admit side, I'm ignorant to it. But I also know that there are agencies you have and they muna supply employees. See coaching association, do you have some sort of like a membership or hamne? So if I get a mandama team is second division or third division, and I need a coach, is there a process bohamne I have to go through you guys, and you guys representing that coach that I need? Make sure that I'm not contragam, sign the contract, make sure that I'm not lunkofe, because Gambia lack of transparency become the rate. We all know that these guys are given contracts but we don't even know how much they are being paid. They could never know fast, Farao. But if I know Matarr is making this much, next time Suma know as a student of Matarr, I know fan line gonna negotiate. I know what numbers I'm gonna start with. But so far, they sign player or they sign coach, and nobody's telling us. Man, with my ignorance, munna them for no. Whereas man, small level of experience, and Luma Muna deliver is worth $20,000 a month. I might end up getting paid $5,000.
No, it's a good one, Raz. It's a good one.
Do you have anything to contribute on that, Matarr?
No, for that one, I think in the past, because like you said, there's almost been this secrecy, and nobody wants to, unveil and let people know what's going on. And usually, Raz, and maybe Sana will also know this, and Habib, especially when you had issue with one of your coaches last year, that you don't really hear from coaches until they're in trouble, until there's a problem. Guiding my own daha, so my young people put my advice in. So sometimes the coaches themselves have to take the blame, because they just think, I'm here in contract negotiations, and let me just go and do it by myself. Even with my contract negotiations that are still taking place, I engaged the former president of the GFCA. I let him know. Parfai was aware, because I cannot be a hypocrite in terms of saying to other coaches, this is what should be the best practice, because exactly as you said, Raz, there should be a body, a union, where when there's contract negotiations, there's a reference point for them. They know how much they should be earning, how much should I negotiate for. This is qualifications I have. This is how many years I've been coaching. This is the club. What are their objectives? Okay, maybe they don't have big money to pay your salary. Then you can have an extra bonus related to if you achieve promotion, if you stay in the league. All these different things. You could even put a contract clause inside where if the team wins 10 games, you have to pay the coach this amount. There's so many different variables and so many different options that you can have in terms of when it comes to contract negotiation. But unfortunately, coaches, we are still we're not willing to go forward and make our dealings. I wouldn't even say it's public, because these are things that you can go online and I can tell you how much the coach of Morocco is earning. The national team is there. The information is there. So these are things that sometimes we sort of I don't know. There is that reluctance to share that information, but the way that you put it there, it can only act as a reference in terms of where people should be going. And there'll be a lot of people like yourself who would not know, okay, I have an academy or I'm in the 3rd division. They have the funds. They even want to pay their coaches, but they don't know how much. And they also want to be protected. They don't want to, we've talked about respect and valuing, but also I don't think it's fair to overpay. Yeah. If you have a guy coming in 1 day a week out of 5 days, and you're paying him more than somebody who works 7 days a week for another club, I'm sorry, you're overpaying that coach, and that's also not fair.
Yeah.
So it's a case of making sure that everybody has the right level, the right package that they should be at, but it only happens if all parties are willing to open up and start talking. That's the only way.
Definitely.
Because I think
the
Lion because that is a very important question for Hamne. As the president of GFCA, man, I will have interest in that. Answer. So the not customer colleague, not question. But to put the lion's share of the blame should go to Gambian coaches. Mm-hmm. You asked about there is association to tell you the truth. It's a composition of 1st and 2nd division coaches in the Gambia, both male and female. As a constitution, and with all the regional coaches, and also the national team coaches. But though they got Ben Gambian coach who will have interest on the associations activities until should run into an issue. Mm-hmm. There's a constitution, it's stated there. Before you be a bona fide member, you have to be attending meetings, you have to pay your dues. If I am right, it was $25 or $50 every month. How many of those coaches will be attending meetings on monthly basis? And no meeting you're disqualified. So you tell me, can one association be kula muna tahawal when you had an issue? Man personally, when I was in the association, this particular coach, he's a good friend of mine. He was suspended. I was in Dakar. Tafamane could be a witness. I know you are not in town, but you got to work on this because you come back indefinitely. I came out like what's the issue, and I confronted the referees. But what I have to tell him is, because you are not a member of the association. But me, how many meetings have you attended? How many months have you paid your dues? And this is a close friend of mine. These are things you are, they are important. They might be small to you, but they're in fact, you respect some bopa. You make us association be not every Tom Dick and Harry make us association be. They said every head coach of a first division team is an automatic member of the coaches association. So Lila War, it's a responsibility boy. You need to be fulfilling your responsibilities as a member of an association. You need to be attending meetings. You need to be paying your dues. So could they yo Lula Munadal. Dapare Lena bureaucracy before they make a boy. This nyaka transparency, nga dugo contract negotiation di nobu. Nga fi lu nobu ñancho. Su yagge be yaga dina fi di nga soxla pour dimbal ñu dimbal la fekk dafa leet. Bu leete be pare nga bëgg ñoo di naka la dimbal. If you hide everything from Matarr as the president of the GFCA, nga sign a contract, the association is not aware. It's not in the picture. You had an issue with your club, you want the association to step in. How did you expect them to step in? Tell me. On these are things that have been happening. Man should not away because the problem is more respect to association. You need to understand that the Gambia Football Coaches Association, it is an association to look into the interests of Gambian coaches. Nothing else more. So you also interested coaches with more responsibility. And this is something that we have to talk about. Coaches they had an association that they have to respect. Lolu moy nek sen guide to anything because association be luñ bëgg ci Gambian football dinañ ko am either in the easiest way or in the hardest way. Dafa am why don't expect nga taxaw nga disrespect sa own association nga am issue nga bëgg ñu taxawal la. It's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna do it.
Well, definitely. I think that the culture needs to be changed, or the new standard. Even some of them schools, so we say 2, 3, 4, 5 classes, they email your parents. Now we cannot look after your interest. Association, we cannot look after your interest as a coach, and your time you are not attend meeting. So what interest are you showing? But Habibi la buga may muduga. Because this needs to be talked about.
Yeah, I'm going Gambia moy deka bo xamne dafa meet. Sometimes you don't even know what our people really want. I'm not ñoo xamne the fact ne Ras is the president, ñoom they lose appetite because they don't like you. Not knowing ne you don't have a choice. You have to join. You have to be there. If you want if you want to be defended when things come in the negative, you have to be part of the system. You have to attend meetings, like Sona said. You have to get your membership card, and you have to adhere to all the rules and regulations governing this association. But some people will rather go and watch a Premier League match than going to a meeting, or they will say, they amon gente, or they amon warga, or they amon Sunday beach. People will leave. You opted to be a coach. There are things attached to that. You have to do everything to be in that system. But I think Lulu Warna Neka something of the past. We are in the 21st century. Things have changed. All these young boys aspiring to be coaches have to do what they are supposed to do. There are rules and regulations. If you follow them, you are safe. If you don't follow them, you are not part of it. And I think with Matarr coming in, and I've seen a lot of young coaches because I was on their graduation. I've seen coaches who are very, very young, and that looks really good. But to make things short, Ras, coaches should come together to be like one bulb. If they are together, they are strong.
Mm-hmm.
They should not allow some particular individuals in the system or in the federation to put them aside.
Right.
This is Gambia's biggest problem. They have to come together. If you have an opinion, you can say it. They are always having their monthly meetings or whatsoever. So if you have your idea, go and attend the meeting, express your feeling, give your opinion on the table, and they will talk about it. But you cannot be part of the coaches association, and all what you do is sit in the campus and criticize your colleagues.
Yeah, that's what we do.
That's not right. If you have,
that's
if
exactly
you have an opinion,
that's
or
exactly
if you disagree,
money rasne. The issue of the Gambian coaches is soon bopala.
yeah,
You know what to set the standard. You know what to change our mindset towards our job. Bala you can respect. You know what to respect in Boba. And I believe Mboge say the setup of the association and Mboge say you widen some of the executive positions. I'm impressed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm impressed with the young ones that are injected in the system. And this is the way forward. We are in the 21st century, as you said. We got to move to the right direction. For long overdue, we make a shadow to all these allied associations. And we should be one of the most powerful associations in the country.
Yeah, for me,
I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you guys.
Just quickly, Raz, just on the issue of meetings, even on your platform now, all four of us were in different places, but we're having a meeting together. Yeah. So I think one of the things that, as Gambian coaches, sometimes we underestimate the value of technology. You don't have to always meet in person. There's ways to do it online, digitally. If people are busy, and there's things like you can have a profile. Once the website is set up, you go onto your profile individual as a coach, you know how much is due, you know how much arrears you have, you can have all that information, you know which course is coming up. So there's a plan to digitize and take advantage of online technology, because as I said, all four of us, we're having a meeting now, but we're all in different places. Yes, okay, maybe there may be challenges if you want to get coaches together and all that kind of thing, but the idea is to use modern day technology and to not just be almost so stuck in the past, because these same technologies, your players are using it. Players,
definitely.
modern day players now, all on there. Even my 2-year-old son, he knows how to turn my phone on and off. I don't even know. It's just so intuitive. These devices that are on nowadays, that as coaches we should not be so scared to embrace technology as part of the activities of the association. You can have an online web presence where all those things, you can send a lot of information through.
Yeah.
You can have a portal for each member. You have your password, you have your login, your username. You go in there, you see all your details are there. You upload your licenses on there, everything. If you have any problem, you just email and you send it to say, this one is confidential, etc., etc. So these are some of the things that we have to stop making life difficult for ourselves. I'll tell you guys a fact and a secret that I've learned, working here, that there are people who specialize in making life difficult for coaches.
Yeah.
Sana will know what I'm talking about, because any club, any organization, you will find people who are specialists in making life difficult for coaches. And one of the secrets I can say to the success I've had is that I've been able to identify those people and keep them at arm's length and minimize their disruption, because you can only control when you see them and you're around them, but you cannot control when they go out of your sight. So it's about trying to minimize those people. So then, as coaches, let's not disrupt ourselves when we already know there are people already out there who want to cut our legs and cut our arms from us. So let's make sure we have the power and we look after ourselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. Definitely. Man, nekuma coach. So I could have it every Sunday. It's very interesting. I don't know what our coaches is then would shy away. But like you said, you have people they're not just full-time coaches. They have other expertise. This digital stuff boy and I'm sure that there are people within the association help suma masi munkui. They could help us, and tell us how we can attend meeting phone for an hour or whatever, you move on. But I wish we had more time to discuss this kind of thing. So I'm just going to shift the goalpost a little bit, and
No,
I'm going to talk
Ras,
about uh, yeah, yeah.
before you go there, I had one important thing because there are a lot of people around the world that are interested to hear that answer from
Wow,
Matarr.
so come wrap up Bugao too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and as Gambia Football Coaches Association, how many we have Gambians that are coaches around the world, and they are every part of the world. So, one
Sana,
association,
Sana, double, Sana. Okay, go ahead, Matar. Ñu doon ñëw foofu waaye is good na ñëw nga fa pour ñu wrap up ko.
No, sorry, Sana. Repeat. I lost the last bit of the question. Sorry.
Yeah, like I was saying, we have Gambian coaches, like the Gambian Football Coaches Association. That's basically for Gambians that are living in the country. But one provision that the incoming executive for Gambian coaches that are abroad, that wants to be part of Gambian coaches. One provision in your upcoming tenure.
No, the doors are open, 100%. The doors are open, and we need Gambian coaches abroad because you guys and the coaches who are working abroad, we also want you guys to come back from time to time and inculcate and run some coaching courses, some seminars. There's a lot of ex-players as well. We want to make sure that they're involved in our programs. I don't think it makes any sense, to segregate a group to keep them out of your activities just because you're not in the country. As I said, the whole world is connected nowadays. Everyone is connected on WhatsApp. You can talk to people on WhatsApp. You can send any letters, documents by email. To me, there's no reason at all why, if a coach is abroad and is Gambian and wants to be part of the membership, cannot be part of it. They can still be having access to the website, being updated on news, being part of programs. When coaching courses are coming up as well, they can be recommended because they're coaching abroad to the GFCA to do the GFF course, to the CAF courses, all those different things. We want to make sure that, I'm not somebody who wants to restrict the membership. I want to open it up. And already the previous executive, there was a manifesto to increase the membership to C license holders, B license holders. So any qualified coach, automatically you're a member. And it's not related to your position, whether you recruited by a club or anything like that. So any coach out there who is licensed, C license, B license, A license, pro license, anything, you are automatically eligible to become a member of the Coaches Association. So then we can expand further. There's nothing that says you have to be in the country coaching inside the Gambia to be part of the Gambia Football Coaches Association. If you are, you can be abroad, you can be anywhere in the world, and you can still be afforded the same privileges, the same support in terms of contract negotiations, because maybe you might even feel more alone abroad. So maybe if there was a body behind you, a national coaching body who could say, look, the way you're treating our coach, or these are the contract negotiations that we are looking for your coach, boom, here it is. Maybe it will help add weight and carry that prestige in terms of the way that we work as coaches, and it will make our jobs easier. That's all I'm always about. I just want to make people's lives easier. It's the same philosophy when I'm as a coach. I work hard, I analyze opposition, I watch the videos, I'll sit there for 3 hours watching matches, and then 3 hours of work, I'll just put it into 1 minute chat with the player, because the player doesn't have time maybe to watch a video for 3 hours. So these are things. It's about making life easier for people.
Lolo tahon mane man fosongi watan bobu no momo don gina fatsa. But anyway, guys, we running out of time. So please, Habibi, so they lo buga dugal do gel 30 seconds. You can go ahead.
Sang Wisdom Mendy made a very good comment here.
Okay.
It's time to ask, who are those who are always trying to put the coaches under the mud. So he wants coaches to explain exactly who are behind those actions.
No, Habib.
I think Sang is being very naive there. I think he's being very naive.
Sang wisdom will sort you out. The envelope, it would be your Christmas gift. But guys, we have to move on. We have to move on. Anyway, just to say a little bit of Matarr Lord and was FA coaches you Neka abroad. Sana, thank you for bringing it. Mungfi on why we were running out of time. So it's a win-win situation because I'm saying I'm not coaches you have around, they are licensed. You know, they might be UEFA, they might be licensed from the US. And over time, then they're them holidays in Gambia at December, you know. Once you are there, you can run a clinic, not just
100%.
players, but for the coaches themselves. When you them jealous in license, it's a coach. It was a coach called him more than instruct those license. So these coaches can take those expertise. They have UEFA B license. Whatever they learn from that, they can give it to the coaches in Gambia, and they can have clinics and all that stuff. Why, like I said, leave time never over there, but we have to move on. So I'm finally gonna shift the goalpost a little bit and talk about the FF investing on the growth of individual coaches. Come after Matarr, boom, and U20 Bihamga, finishing at a respectful third place. We saw a competent coach called Hamne, winner Wafubi twice and literally collected medals in tournaments, majority of, or even all tournaments in them yet. So at that point, I was saying it would be great to send him abroad. I don't know the Amga UEFA batches already. It would have been very good to have this pro UEFA batches, Union Club, Union Morino, and all that stuff. I mean, this would be very huge, not just for the players, but your fellow coaches as well. I mean, Gambian football as large. Don't you think this is something that you want to talk with the GFA? You know what I'm saying? 6 months la mo jël sa sponsor len ñu dem jëlé bagage abroad in the world. What do you think, coach?
No, it's a very good point. And you know, I've made requests in the past because I got up to UEFA B license when I was in England. But in terms of keeping up the validity of the license, you have to have certain hours every year, and then you have to send them the qualifications. So I sent them the CAF C license that we did, and then the CAF B license that we did, which was not a problem. But then there's not been any courses in terms of CAF since 2015. So I would just do things like I would organize a trip to India to go watch the FIFA Under-17 World Cup. I would finance where I could. I wrote to the GFF at the time, and they were able to support me with some funds also. I managed to pick up another sponsor as well. It was Usman Drame who worked very hard to get an air ticket for me to go to India and back. And I was able to have my accommodation, watch the matches, watch the likes of Phil Foden at the England 17s, watch the Spanish 17s. And I did a report for the GFF, and then I used that also to send back to the FA as proof of continuous professional development. It's CPD. It's what you have to be doing every year to keep up your qualifications. There was another time I went to Zambia. I was part of the COSAFA study group. Again, I had to pay for my own ticket to get there, and then they obviously, you're part of the study group, so they pay you as well. So I was able to raise some funds there, and then again, went to the US, went there as a VIP to the US Soccer Coach Association, which Sana will become familiar with very soon. Every January, it's the biggest coaching convention in the world. Thousands and thousands of coaches are set up there. This one was in Chicago. So again, there's been, you know, times when we even went to Europe for the scouting tour. I went back and I went to Buba's club, Buba Sane's club. I went to Horsens. I went to Hertha Berlin, Eintracht Frankfurt, Bayern Munich, just to watch their training, just to do my own continuous professional development. You know, there's times when I'll just sit down and I'll analyze these past U17 tournaments, U20 tournaments, because I'm not somebody who wants to wait for a course. If the courses are not available, then I will go and do my own online research and develop myself as a coach. Now, maybe not everybody has the means to do some of the things that I do, But just as you said, Ras, it's so important to make sure the coaches, you are constantly developing. It's called CPD, continuous professional development. It doesn't stop until maybe you say, I'm going to retire from coaching. If the likes of even Alex Ferguson in his time, towards the end of his career, he was still learning, because football changes all the time. We've seen the prevalence, this past season in the league, a lot of teams are using back three now. Even if you look at leagues globally, back three seems to be popular. It's something that we used in our U20 competition, but previously I was against the back three because as a player and as a defender, I was never comfortable playing in a back three.
Yeah.
But now you see it's so normal that any prejudice or any fear you have about using the formation, you just forget about it. Players, whether it's back three, back four, they're used to it. They're used to the systems.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, the boys that I've been working with, they are so tactically aware. They watch TV, they watch formations, they hear about coaches. You'll be surprised with the level of tactical knowledge that they have. In some of the meetings, I do less talking because it's the players who are asked to tell me what's going on tactically. So these are some of the things that I think, as a coach, you have to be always on your profession. You have to say, how can I get better? There's no point doing things because we've been doing it for 10 years.
Yeah, and witness Nenkosa, because if you look at your first game, I was actually one of the few that came out and say, okay, I was not impressed. I'm talking about the U20. I was not impressed with our outing at all. And this was not Matarr. And in my post, I also said, I think this guy is so intelligent and he studies a lot. That's my area too. I want to study the games over and over again. And I said on my post, he would come back and make sure he fixed it. And that is something that, like you said, it's a player they tactically aware. You invest in a lot of time. But this is straight talk. So let's do some straight talking too. We want to know, did you engage the GFF about sending you abroad to get this pro license? Because they can be the new win. And what did they say?
Yeah, I made an application to do my UEFA A license. It was in Scotland because it was the one that was the most value, and there's also an option to do it in Wales. The FA was the most expensive out of all of them, but I put forward the one in Scotland would be more feasible in terms of finances, and at the time I was told there was not enough funds, so I just took it on the chin, as I said. I sort of went to try to raise funds on my own, and that was the advice I was given, because I sort of at the time also I thought to myself, why would they reject and why would they not be willing to support? But there's always two sides, Raz, because I did actually think that they were thinking if they supported me to get my UEFA A license, and I became a UEFA A license coach, that at the first opportunity I'll be gone and I'll be out of here. So someone will snap me up somewhere. Maybe they thought I'd go back to England straight away. Look, like I said, because you've asked me the question in terms of the straight talk, that was the conclusion I came up with. Because finance is always the blanket response, but if you want to get the truth from somebody, you have to ask the same question 3 times. And sort of poking and poking and poking, that's the conclusion I got with it. If the Federation spent, it would have been in the hundreds of thousands of dollars to develop me to get the A license, then what's to stop me once I have that A license to go? You can sign things like bonds and you can do all these different things, but that was never a question. That was never raised. So I took it in a positive way that, okay, they want to keep me, because they obviously think that I can help them and I can help them to achieve what they need to achieve. But in terms of going forward for the GFCA, it shouldn't be me. I'm definitely going to try to reach out to my contacts again. In fact, the first time I was appointed back in 2015, I contacted all my academy friends out in the UK at Brentford, AFC Wimbledon, Arsenal, Chelsea, and the idea was Bonner was there at the time as well, Alhaji Morong, the goalkeeper coach, Even Omar Cisse at the time, we were all supposed to go there and have like 10 days in the UK. And I lined up all these appointments with all of my academy friends to be able to go and have a study visit. And it was very embarrassing that I had to go back to them and say, sorry, boys, we can't do the trip because there's no money. There's not enough money. So I learned my lesson very quickly. When you come in new, you want to try all these different things, So I said, oh, let's go back to the UK. Let me help these guys also. As somebody has just asked, let me help them to also get the same exposure I have had. But there are just challenges in this country in terms of finance that we just have to deal with. So it's about getting these partnerships, similar partnerships, and trying to get as much sponsorship as possible, and making sure that things like flights, first of all, are the main concern. Accommodation is never a problem, because when you go to these clubs, they have digs, as you call it, digs where they can stay. They can stay with another coach. Even if they have a family, they can be invited to be in exchange. Accommodation is never a problem. Maybe they need some pocket money for food and for transport, but the air ticket and all the visa fees and everything are the main concern. So we're just going to try to look and see. As I said, it shouldn't be me, because I've had a fantastic career so far. I've had exposure. I've had the privilege of being outside of the Gambia and seeing facilities, how things work in terms of sports science, in terms of nutrition, diet. So it would be great for other coaches to also have that same opportunity. So definitely, it's part of the plans and what we're trying to do. But we just have to try to be as realistic as possible in terms of the financial challenges that we have here. And I know that the federation, they cannot do everything. It's often an accusation that they get that they should fund this, they should fund that, but honestly speaking, they cannot fund every single program. So in the end, the sponsors have to come forward and other parties have to come forward to try to help develop Gambian football as well.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just hoping next in conversation we would go out there and to the FF themselves to kind of look at these things. I know you are humble and young new one there, okay, it should not be me. I would definitely do that too. But I'm just saying that you are almost there. You've already halfway, or Lula de say Bollywood. It would be nice, like you said, accommodation next problem. I'm not so them on US sana dinala host. So you on Feleton dinala host or some. But it would be nice. It's a long-term investment. If I win coach, if I win player, if I win. Let's have at least one UEFA Pro licensed coach in Gambia. Because I'm not sure in Senegal, you might have 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever. You need 9:03 right now. Obviously, we are 3 minutes away, and you watan be like gelling the whole chunk. Yes, Habib.
Barrow said we have to exhaust. We have to exhaust.
Yes, boss. Yes, boss. We will do that.
He said so. But one thing I wanted to talk about this capacity building, trying to push our coach to the next level. Yeah, it's for me. It's I'm not seeing that happening anytime soon. The fact that you cannot even give contracts to our local coaches, that alone says a lot about what our authorities are ready to do. Because if you cannot give them contract, it's been 4 months or 3 months, approximately 4 months since they made that post that our coaches have been given new contracts. And these coaches were Matarr, Mboge, and the goalkeeper trainer, Alaji Maro. It's almost 4 months now since we heard about this contract extension and Alaji Sar. But still now, nothing happened. So I think it's easier to give the coaches contract than try to give them that amount of money to go outside to develop themselves. It's really difficult to give them contract. So I'm not seeing that happening anytime soon. That's the way forward. That's the way it should be. Every year or so, we should be doing that. Ras, imagine right now we have 2 fitness trainers in our national team, and they are both foreigners. 2 fitness trainers are in the team. Can you tell me that the entire Gambia, the whole country, we cannot have fitness trainers? Like, you are spending a week or 2 with the boys, nothing more. apart from going to a tournament, it's all about 1 week, 2 weeks, 14 days. So can you tell me a country like the Gambia, we cannot produce fitness trainers, that we have to hire coaches from South Africa and I don't know, from Belgium.
Definitely.
This is making me sick, you know. The fact that we are not trying to take from our own, even if I know there are fitness trainers in the Gambia, even if give them the chance. This is not club football; it's national team football. Most of the players coming to camp are mostly fit. So what is difficult? We're having 2 fitness trainers coming from abroad. Before spending a lot of money for the coaches to go to have this Pro B license or whatsoever, give them a contract. Because most of these coaches are dependent on football to make a living. And giving them a contract, it means you're giving them their pass, you know, fees money, cash power, school fees, you name them. For example, if Alagisar is paid per game, Alagisar is a family man. He should be given a contract, full-time contract. Alaji Maram the same thing. Matarr the same thing. Liable the same thing. I know people will always say that I am always talking about these coaches because for me, it's sad. I cannot get it. That we can pay a foreign coach $10,000 or 10,000 euros. For Tom, he deserved it because he took us to AFCON. Nobody can say a word about that. He deserved it. I don't have a problem with that. But how about our own coaches? If we are not ready to pay the coaches, who will pay them? Even the clubs will not respect them. Because from the top, I don't know, is it the ministry or the FF who is really responsible of paying the coaches? But whosoever is responsible is not doing his or her job. So for me, I will keep emphasizing about giving the coach what they deserve. I know, and then one of the problems of Gambia, Ras, you keep defending people, you keep fighting for them, you defend them, and then they will just call them in a corner, and they will say, well, Habibi boy, mansa, you see, they will blame me for defending them, and if they give them the money, I'm not going to earn a euro out of it. So they'll put them in the corner, wait, you guys allow Habibi to be talking about this. Hey, they will against me for saying the truth. Wow. And this has been happening from referees to coaches. It's a Gambian problem. The moment they put you in a corner, you are okay. Or I know some of these coaches also, the moment you have a chance to be in the under 20 or in the under 17, you will fan back. This is how things have been going in our country. You defend them for their own interest, because if they give a contract or Matarr, it's not going to me. The money is not coming to me. I'm just thinking that they deserve it. That's my opinion.
Wow, absolutely agree with you. You know, you get 10 steps away, but the big problem is there when you want to start, which is the contract. But Damagis on the comment section, Strong Wisdom made a really good commentary here. And like the reason why I like doing these shows and reading these commentaries, you know, and he did say coaches are professionals, so no federation should spend huge amount of funds to train any coach. It could be risky unless if he is tied to a 10-year program with activities to carry out. Secondly, coaches need to be free to negotiate their own contract. Fail number. Anyway, you sana gis nga fuma dema affaire si. What's your opinion on that? Sana, are you in?
Yeah, actually, respect my opinion is sung with Winston Mendy, and I think I agree with him on both 2 points. One, the coaches, you know, are professionals and they have to, you know, be responsible of their own capacity building. I don't have a problem with that, but you have to look at the job of the Gambian coaches and what they earn. To build up their own capacity. So I'm larger than what I want to do. I'm not coaches who have in counter. I've been paid $1,500 for a month. I've seen them and I have known them. So how do they expect Coco as a family man for the next 10 years to build his own capacity? It's not realistic. 1. 2, the federation is requesting money from FIFA to build the capacity of coaches. So there is nothing wrong in you using that money, putting in building the capacity of coaches. There's nothing wrong with that. The last living window money that they had from FIFA, there's a certain amount of money, a huge amount of money that was said that it was that was set to be spent on capacity building. Which capacity building? Which of the capacity, not the coaches? Because the last C license, the 2 C license that happens, that we are just concluded, are paid by the coaches. So which of the capacity have they built? Who? Is that wrong for them to pick up the money and spend it on 1 or 2 or 3 people? No, it's not wrong. To me, you only spending the money where it should be spent. Okay, and I think that is a very, very important. The Gambian coaches doesn't have the opportunity for us to earn that amount of money to an extent where the build our own capacity. All these courses you get in the country, it's not free. Especially the CAF courses are not free. They are paid for. And some clubs, as far as I'm concerned, I paid for my own course. And good number of coaches as well paid for their own course. In fact, the money is paid in foreign currency. So it's going to be difficult. So we get one coaches, then you improve. Yes, they should in the normal circumstances. And I completely agree with them. They should be free to negotiate their own contracts. They should, because but it is always important to be reference, put your association in the picture in case if there is a breach of contract, they could easily step in. So these are important things.
Sarah, I want to add something there, because some of these coaches I saw at the during their graduation, some of them are not even earning $5,000 per month or even $3,000. So if you are earning $5,000 and you are supposed to pay $10,000 for the C license, it doesn't add up. Our coaches are not well paid to take care of themselves. The small amount of money they are earning goes to their families. They have families. So some of the coaches are married. And if you look at the funds coming from FIFA, there's a section that indicates capacity building. And we're talking about football here. So there is nothing wrong for GFF to spend money on our coaches. In fact, I felt that all these recognized coaches in the 1st and 2nd division who are under the Coaches Association should be doing these courses for free. They don't have to pay anything. They don't have to pay. That is like GFF giving $150,000 to every club. The GFF is trying to help the club sometimes by giving them $150 each. It's the same thing. If you can give the club $150, you can cover the bills of these coaches once and for all. It's $10,000 is a small money, but for a coach who earns $2,000 or $3,000 or $5,000 is a lot of money, and these coaches are sacrificing to do it. Some of them are getting paid by their clubs. In our countries, there are realities. We don't have money. If the coaches were highly paid, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, you can take care of yourself. You can pay your own cost. But your club, some of the coaches in our country, the clubs are owing you a couple of months. Few clubs in the Gambia can pay their coaches regularly on monthly basis. Few. Apart from these coaches, apart from these institutions, few teams can do that. Few teams can do that. So how do you expect those coaches to push themselves to the next level if there is no money on the ground. So it's very, very normal for the GFF to help the coaches to be at the level where we all wanted them to be. So for Matarr case is a rare case. How many coaches from the Gambia have the opportunity to go to Europe and and do such? Daraba was living in Europe for quite a long time. So Daraba got the opportunity because he was a professional. He knows the links. He can pay for himself. I also understand that we also have other coaches like Tamsil Mane and Dudu Loom. But for those coaches, for our local coaches in the Gambia, they cannot do that. They don't have what it takes to do it. Even if they want to do it, they cannot because there's no money. There's no money. So I think for the FF to come and help or support these coaches, it's something very normal. Really, it's very normal.
I just want to add on what this gentleman Hatib Waladan Jai has said.
My guy.
Because going from what Sana was saying, and in response to Sang Wisdom Mendy's question, which also I respect the question, but I think the perspective is that you're looking at it that it's only going to be beneficial to that individual coach. So the federation sponsors me to do my UEFA A license. I'm only going to be the beneficiary of it. The benefits of becoming a more qualified coach is that I get access to tools and skills that maybe I was not aware of to do my job better, which in turn will develop better players. If a club anywhere in the world comes and says, we want to take your coach from you, if there's a significant contract, let's say a 5-year contract for however many thousands of dollars, then whoever wants to come for you, because you're under contract, that club or that party has to come and pay the federation. So the federation is not losing out in terms of if that person suddenly decides or has a better offer to go. Whoever comes in is just like in a player transfer. Whatever the terms are of your contract, the team that wants you now has to come and buy you. In effect, it happens with coaches. It's not about thinking about the benefit for that individual coach. Now, to have a Gambian coach coaching abroad, whichever country it is, Tafamani, for example, is a benefit to Gambia as a whole, because we have Gambians who are now coaching outside. Portuguese coaches have a very good reputation in the world. Scottish coaches have a good reputation because of Alex Ferguson. German coaches have a very good reputation. If suddenly we see Gambian coaches outside, working outside, all these ex-players, and doing well, that's a super initiative for the country. It's going to be nothing but good and help to develop our football even further. If I'm in a club team all of a sudden in another part of the world, I'm all of a sudden going to look for Gambian players, because I worked in this country and I know the attitude of Gambian players. I can connect with them and I know their quality and their value. So now, if wherever club I'm at, whatever it is, whoever the coach could be, now they'll want to come and bring Gambian players. So they have to negotiate with Real de Banjul, with Waladan, with Hawks, or whoever it is, to say, we need these players because I've worked with them at U20 level. There's some players in this U20, if you gave me the Liverpool job tomorrow, I'm signing them, and I'm willing to pay millions. We're talking about, that's the fantasy part of it. But that the reality is that we have to try to invest in ourselves, and let the federation also help to invest in coaches, because you are also developing products that will now be exported around the world. I think it's only Burundi where I've seen the coach of the Burundi national team, coach of the Tanzania national team, and their rivals like Gambia, Senegal. I cannot ever imagine a Gambian coach being the head coach of Senegal. But until recently, it was a Burundian who was the coach of Tanzania, and it was actually that coach, Tanzania ended up beating Burundi. Senegalese coaches are doing very well in Europe. We have Mbaye, there was coach of Standard Liège. You have Omar Daf, who's head coach of Sochaux. There's another coach in Fuz Rabat, Florent Mboge of DRC is coaching RS Berkane. We're the Gambian coaches. It's also a dream to have us in those conversations, coaching at these big clubs, coaching for these big countries. Why not? If the qualities are there, but the investment has to come, and it's not about you pay the coach a good contract, you pay him for all his education. It's about making sure that the guy doesn't even want to leave. It's a different mindset. You know, maybe you'll say, let's not pay for the license in case somebody or he wants to go. No, you're investing in him so that he will turn around and say, you know what, these guys invested in me. I have something to repay them. I had a culture because I've worked in corporate organizations and I've managed people, I've led teams, and I always have the philosophy that you have to treat people in a certain way that they never want to leave. That even if a big club comes for them or a big opportunity comes for them, they say, you know what, I'm happy where I am because I'm being treated very well. There's no place like home. And I think that's something that we are missing in Gambia. As in general, we just don't want to see that person progress because we're looking at that individual. We're not seeing that it benefits the whole country and so many other individuals as well.
It's like a lot of Gambian doctors with PhDs and stuffs who could stay in America or England and earn thousands of dollars or euros. They came back to Gambia because they think they have this heart to give back to their people. I'm just trying to emphasize on what you are saying. Like, if you invest on our coaches, they go with our badge, they go with our national flag. Wherever they go, they are Gambian coaches. We also want to see Gambian coaches, not only coaching in the Gambia, but in the diaspora as well. And then someday they will all want to come back and coach the national team or any other category or in any capacity, to come and give back to our people. Like, for example, someday we have, I think Sana can give us more names. There are a lot of Gambian coaches around the diaspora with badges.
Yeah,
some of them were former internationals. So they are in Europe, but all their mind and soul are back home. Maybe the system is not very favorable for them to come, but they are all thinking about coming home one day. So supporting the local coaches is supporting the Gambia. It's as simple as that.
The reason I brought up that question to Matarr about the provision of Gambian coaches abroad, it's something that I have to take with him as the president of the GFCA. But it's important for him to know, and I believe he knows a lot, that there are a lot of Gambian coaches around the world. And these are coaches. Some of these coaches are UFB license holders. And then we could use their expertise, to motivate other Gambian coaches. And I think that's one area that I will definitely keep working with Matarr, with him and the team back home. And I'm sure he will be happy to know that there is already a group that I'm coordinating. That's the Gambian coaches abroad. That way I'm coordinating, and we're talking, and then we will definitely broaden days to make sure that we work with the Gambia Football Coaches Association. And it's good to know that they can also be part of the association. We can all be part of the association. And
Sana, for those coaches. Yes, we want them, to come and also inculcate what they've learned to other Gambian coaches. But just what I was saying before, there are also products out there. I just saw that Dowda Bar, for example, has got his UFB. Now, wouldn't it be great if Dowda Bar goes and takes up a team in the Finnish first division or the second division as a head coach? Wouldn't it be great? Yes or no?
It will be great.
Because you'll have a pathway, you have a Gambian head coach there. So those are some of the things that we want those players to think about. Not just saying, let's come to Gambia and let's all fight for the same positions.
No.
When we know there's not so much remuneration. I remember I was watching Pa Dembo Toure. And I know because at the time somebody was telling me he's a legend in Djurgården. For all he's done there, he should be able to have a coaching position there. And as a coaches association, we should be able to support all these ex-players to get positions in their ex-clubs or in their leagues, because we have to start dreaming big.
Yeah.
Everyone is thinking, how can I get back to Gambia, and let's all fight for the same position, the same national team position, U17, U20, U23 national team head coach. But to me, I see opportunities for these players to go to their clubs, value themselves. We will support them wherever we can to take up coaching positions, if not assistant coach, then head coach positions in those areas, because that will also boost our football. Instead of having everybody here, let's have also the ones outside doing what they can, and we support them where we can. Look at Senegal. Omar Daf is there in Sochaux, in the second league in France. Just let me just ask you, how many Senegalese players do you think is in that team in Sochaux, the team that's coached by a Senegalese head coach? How many players are there? Do you guess?
5.
Increase. Increase. Yeah, no, it's less than 10. Last I counted, it was about 8.
7.
It's about 8. Yeah, it's about 8. But then and you can see there's a clear bias there, because he's Senegalese himself. So if you have a Senegalese player or a Cote d'Ivoire player, and they're all coming in, he's more likely to go for the Senegalese player, because he'll think, yes, I can connect with him. I can connect with that player. I can get the best out of him because I'm also Senegalese. You know?
The Ivorian player has to be super good. Super good.
Definitely.
Otherwise, he will choose.
Lolu Barnasa, because like Habibi at Sana, you guys are here, but you are still contributing in Gambian football digitally.
100%.
So they coaching there, they can still give back to Gambian football for Daineka way more than your Hamnesa. So that's I have to apologize. Send what time be the for this. Send what time ever over. It's like never melting Noek at lightning and thunder at rain. Never over. but I'm just gonna say a little bit of Sang Lungwa. Sang, thank you for educating me on that bit, and I totally agree with you. If we are going to invest on a coach, maybe we can tie him up with a 5-year contract or something like that. But also, I want to encourage Federation at Sport Ministry. There used to be a time when the government with the uni students abroad, medical students, nursing students. Let's treat this as such. We are also taking a student of the game, put Mudem Jangi, so got a give back. He doesn't have to stay in the country. But again, this is why we're doing this show. This is why we are nagaram to new zero opinion, new muna janga. But compare at what time with Mkoya, over there. We have 2 items, say Shobi and Matarr, you are more than welcome to stay. And hopefully it would not take more than 15 minutes to new wrap up.
Okay.
GFF competition department, it's a nationwide Toby. Jotona Tuti exchange at Ibu, Uncle Ibu Pai, and he made mention that them around put new watan at 3rd division teams. Organizer, they run 3rd division, and just trying to understand the kind of struggle and challenges you guys face last year and how they can improve it. The plan was very welcoming. After the season be over, cool. These guys are still going to make sure they improve next season and have a better season. Habibi, I think that we should give them definitely we should give them props for that.
Absolutely. Using platform we give flowers when necessary. It's not a platform to assassinate people. No. It's a platform for everybody. Even if you talk about you and you feel that we are biased, you are 100% welcome to come here and clarify and make things clear for the benefit of all our followers. Our main target is just to make sure our football, our sports are in safe hands and our people are doing the right thing. We just trying to put pressure on them to deliver, nothing more. So going around to see what's happening firsthand, it's something it's the right thing to do, But the best thing to do time way after the tour, after going around and knowing all their problems, you have to do something about the problems. You cannot just go on a tour, and they will explain like how our politicians will do. They go on a tour and farmers will cry and then you come back, nothing. So we hope this tour will bring good to the people around the Gambia. They are part of it. Football is a universal language, So it's a good initiative. But the end product is the most important thing. What they will be doing after the tour. Because I'm in contacts to ask anybody from Nyomi to Basse. So they have to implement what they are supposed to do. But after all, it's a fantastic initiative. And then seeing Mr. Ibufai himself leading the way, Ibufai is somebody that we have utmost respect. In a sense, whatever happens, if we ask questions, Mr. Fai is the only guy who will come and try to explain something anytime, any day, morning, night, or afternoon. So we commend him for that. So, and we are just praying that, at the end of the tour, they will make some changes and try to help those around the Gambia to also enjoy the cake. Football is not all about in the combos. It's a nationwide thing. So, it's a good thing. To be honest, it's a good thing.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's a very, very good thing. Why come now follow up is very important. Another item the guy table and got stakeholders during the tour was a U15 National League and a lower basic competition. Sana, in the Gambia, you've developed a lot of talent. How many focus at the area from elementary up to, and I believe in the US you are still doing this. How welcoming also is this plan? Do you think this solves the problem of age cheating, or are we missing a step? This U15 lower basic competition at some problem age cheating, U17, whatever it is.
Yeah. First of all, Bala Mala Lulu, I would wanted to clarify this. Everybody is saying we have to commend the GFF for going around, meet the stakeholders. But which stakeholders? First, it's important you try to identify Lulu. When Fatene Gambian football choose to take a federation route, and that federation route, there are regional football associations in every region across the country. And those football regional associations are entirely responsible of football in their region. So GFF that are oversee. So it is the responsibility of these regional associations to make sure that leagues are played in their region year in, year out. This has to be noted. And the GFF, they are subventing these regional associations year in, year out, has to make sure that their action plan or work plan is fully implemented. But are the regional associations living up to expectation? So, through my experience, no, they are not. They are not. This should be part of their job to organize youth tournaments. The only region that you see organizing youth tournament in the whole country, Nari regional, Banjul and Brikama. They have under 15 tournaments, and Banjul Basha is doing a great job together with Yaya Mano, who is the president of the West Coast Region Academic Association. These are two regions that they're doing their job correctly. So, even Matarr would be very interested to know this. The regional coaches associations around the country are also dying down. That's something that we need to know. But it will all come down to one thing. These regional FAs has to be people responsible, has to tell them that they need to do their job. They are not only elected into office just to sit there on my president LRA Football Association. Or they are interested in you is voting time, your new vote. No, you are there to implement. This is a regional association. So I mean, if we're going around with Pasule and the competition department, it's healthy. And I just hope now that they will hold this regional association accountable for failing Gambians, for failing the regions. Because regional football will never fail. The only time you saw them in a competition, is start division qualify triangular, Mr. Warrior, pam, you am there 3 weeks, 100, then you play football. Is that the way we want to live? Is that the way we want to develop football? I don't think so. I think something needs to be done to break that. Then just we put everything on the GFF. We understand, then you want to understand we have moved from an association to a federation. And the federation is what should be working with the associations. Are the associations doing their job? It is. I think that's an area that the FF needs to focus on just to make their job easier. Because the last time I checked, even the COVID funds, they were subvented, they were given money. So how are you giving the associations money to run football and they are running football? That is something that should be the area of interest. That should be the area that you have to tax them. If any region is not doing their job, before you ever sit and take all the blame the association. Bureaucracy, the more again. Is this simply because you are interested in his vote? That's why you cannot tell him the truth. You cannot hold him responsible of his deeds. I don't just know that I mean understand that direction. I mean, I'm more interested in actions with the regional association. If the regional association can take full responsibility and they live up to expectation, all this U15, U20, it will be of a past. Because they will be in a position to run a proper youth system football in their region. But it is not happening. And so region be failing, the federation fails. Sometimes they talk about are we even ready? Are we even ready to be a federation? Sometimes this is what I ask.
Yeah, definitely. It's good, ne. Habib ne. Well, it's good that you are picking out problems and also talking about solutions. And this is what we need. And I hope that they are listening and they would add to it. You know, we're just thinking that the first step of trying to go and identify these problems, it's a good step. While you're lower at Habibulum Wahib and Nancy, they have to make sure that they put it into actions. Like to see a very U15 tournament and then what you call it, lower basis. I just feel like there's a gap. There's a high school gap at U18 gap tamit. Matarr they coach junior teams. How important is this to make sure they fill in that void that you high school at U18? Because I'm sure that those players you probably said Kisumako amon bumo gina neka ndaw time bi dina si muna def lu bari. What's your take on this?
Yeah. Again, very good question, Raz. For me, from my own experience, the time that I was working as the 17s coach and the 20s coach, I would go and watch as much schools football as possible, third division football. As you said, there is a gap from the 15s up to the time when they're 18, when they start being identified by the clubs around the country. One formula that I used to have is that if I didn't see you playing in school football, then I'm not saying you're not on my scouting list, but you're further down than those who I've seen in schools football. For example, from the first 20s, I had the likes of Alfuseni Jata. I first saw him playing schools football. Bala Menso vividly playing schools football. There was a lot of others that were on my list, and this is how I was able to keep track in terms of their player development. So that every year you'd come back and you'd see that progression. Okay, they were playing for the schools team, or now they're playing in the second division, or now they're playing in the first division. I guess it's not a formal structure. I don't think that happened on purpose, but it was just a combination of the work that and the investment that I was putting in terms of scouting. So I can only speak from a personal level. But definitely there has to try to be some way to formalize it, because everywhere you go in the world, it's 15s. When you go from 15s, you go to 16s. When the 16s, you go to 17s. When the 17s is 18s. So to have that gap, it's going to cause confusion, and there's going to be a lot of boys who will not be able to make that transition simply because maybe, I don't want to accuse youth coaches of anything, but maybe they'll pick a player who is physically stronger than another player. And lo and behold, maybe that player is 17. So then the 16-year-old doesn't get an opportunity, and you end up losing potentially a whole year group, a whole generation of players who were so talented when they were 15. Now they've graduated because their bodies have not developed as quickly as others. Then they're not part of it anymore. So that's the challenge that we have there. So there has to be some way to formalize it. You said it there. The gap is too big. Maybe try to put up a program for the 15s to the 16s, and then 16s to the 17s. Yeah, it would help.
Absolutely. I'm huge on this age fraud and things like that. When you go watching a grade 9 student playing in a competition, you are already confident that I could use this person at a certain age. Nobody's gonna come back and say, no, he is not eligible. You know what I'm saying? If we have people playing in the league 5 years running and then end up playing under 17 or some, then we're gonna have to ask questions. So this is very important. We're gonna move to Gambia at Sierra Leone, Chepe, and this is an area that I picked up interest in, and I just feel like ñun si suñ bopp ñun ñi nga xam ne am nañ platform, am nañ voice bi, we need to do more pour ñuy talk about these female football. Man suma bopp am a whole segment pour góor yi, musuma am a whole segment pour jigéen yi. And then you guys, kudos to you guys, you started it, and you have like a sub segment, system programs for Chepe. Game Gambia at Sierra Leone, Bir Liberia, Habibi Fall. I want to take your opinion on it. Then start very, very slow. Obviously, coach be at the end, Johanna some few factors. But the second half, we just look totally a different team. Well, bul worry, dinañ bàyyi Sana mu jël question boobu noonu dañ la sort out. Sana, jëlal ma question boobu, please.
Ras, can you come out again? Can you come out
Well,
again?
I was just saying that in Gambia, Sierra Leone, Chepe, the first half we were on the back foot. We struggled a little bit, and obviously coach be addressing a few factors you cause on Lolo no. While second half we were totally a different team, and I could say that we comfortably win 2-0.
First of all, do want to know who's nobody. Why? Because game be set on so do want to know what nobody. Why come? I can only take reference of Lingawa. Ne could be identifying the factors. Later, first half the Bahout, second half, they were able to play better and score 2 goals. It's simply because that's where the job of a coach comes. And then I think this is that's something that we have to comment for the technical team. About that, and then to try to take turn around the game, which was very, very positive. Why Lolu, it's part of the job you do. I was very unfortunate.
Well, it was a very, very good game. Hopefully you'll catch the game the 25th. And I want to ask Matarr, as the coach, they gonna coach be more one day. She was very proud in the GFF accord 9 weeks of training. Game. You can see that these people behind the scene, they've put in work. Munga Kogi season game. For a coach like you, how important is early preparation? Gambia.
Yeah, no, it's very important. And I'm glad that Coach Baum was given that opportunity. Because a lot of the time you could make the excuse that guy jigging and all this, so let's not support them as much as we do for other teams. But then once you have all the preparation that you need, the pressure is then on you as a team and a coach to make sure the team performs. And I'm sure in the first half she wouldn't have been happy. obviously 0-0 away from home is a great result, but I think they thought they could have more opportunities, and losing a goal from offside as well. I think it's credit to the coach, because anytime you see a team come out in the second half the way they did, is all down to the adjustment of tactics. If things are not going well, you have to really pick up your players. If things are going very well, you have to almost bring them back down to earth. So those are some of the things that the coach has to work on at halftime. And to come up with a 2-0 result, trust me, it's a huge win. And I only just worry that the girls don't take it and become too complacent for the second leg, because these Sierra Leoneans, they now have nothing to lose. They can come here now for the second leg and play whatever they want, because the pressure is not on them. And it's going to be up to our girls to make sure they really keep their heads, they play a calm and controlled game, and make sure they see the game out. Because as a coach, you never think about the negative. You always try to be positive. And you don't allow the fact that maybe you could lose this game get into your head. But it's football, and anything is possible. And I think we just, I always say to my players as well, let's keep our feet on the ground. In Gambian culture, I've seen when a team wins, they fly to the moon, and it's difficult to bring them back down to earth. And it's the complete opposite when they lose. It's like the world has ended. So hopefully, and I'm sure the coach will do a lot of work to find the balance. From what I've heard and seen, I think the team has come together, because I think this is I think they've been playing for the national team since 2017. So this is their 4th year of seeing the same faces, seeing the same coach also, which is another huge positive. They've kept the same coach. So everything is consistent. Everybody knows what they have to do on the pitch. I don't think the coaches suddenly introduced new tactics, or it's been what they've been working on all these years, and it's definitely helped the team. They've gelled together. And sometimes if you have teams from big rivals, Interior Red Scorpions, Real Madrid and Barcelona, sometimes you could have tension. But I think they've come together and said, look, this is for our national interest. We cannot have that club rivalry manifest itself at national team level.
Yeah.
And I know this is a women's football segment, but that was the big problem that England had, because there was the rivalry between Manchester United, Liverpool, the time of Steven Gerrard, Rio Ferdinand, Paul Scholes, Gary Neville. They were not even sit on the same table when they had their meal times. So hopefully all of these things are in the past now, in terms of maybe what was harming the team in the past. And definitely, I think it's also a big plus that the coach has been maintained, and they've supported her and given faith in her. And she's also stepped up to the plate and risen to the occasion also. Because to win 2-0 away at any level, honestly, Raz, it's a huge result. It's a huge achievement, definitely.
Bepre is very positive. Gis nañ coach bi players yi affaire unity boo doon wan noonu after the game gis nañ leen ñoom ñëpp a ngi feature to that song Scorpion. I mean, that unity is there. It's very important. Bepre loo wax tamit si ñu make sure ne buñ overdallu. Win nañ 2-0, and then before the game we heard the Sierra Leonean coach saying ne hey, Gambia la xam nañ luñ mun waaye duñ leen ragal. I think that was some respect, but at the same time tamit dégg nañ suñ coach bi at the end of the game saying, confidently, dañoo dem Banjul ñu jël 3 points. Let's just make sure that we keep our head cool. Ñu dem foofu noonu jël ko. Habibi, I wanted to ask you. Gis naa ne Sierra Leone seen boppa ñoom bu game bi jeexee ñoom ñu bëri ñu ngi doon comment di wax ne the problem we have mooy for so long amuñ league suñ cepee amuñ league bu ñoo compete. Now, Buma Gene Fofuma look at our Gambian setup, GFF and Chepe New Runs and Football are doing a very great job. At least I'm in 4th division, 2nd division, 3rd division. I'm in thousands of players you play. Do you think this was an advantage for us? I'm in this setup, I'm in league gangi play versus Sierra Leone, they don't have a formal league.
I think Lol definitely contribute to the performance of the first half, because the girls we are going to Freetown, knowing it on paper, on paper we are better. You know, dafa nekk game boo xam ne we ñu ñoo war a win because man def naa research call naa ñu war a call like leen and are they following this xam nga ñoom wane ma all the updates about our opponent. So going forward we have to win. Doesn't matter home or away. You know what I win because all the stats, everything was on our favor to win. And on top of that, game being on inside their home, it was in Liberia, so it was more of a neutral ground for us. Like Matarr just mentioned, this team have been together for a while now. They understand each other. You know, so I'm feeling suma opinion. I feel they just went to the game feeling very relaxed and comfortable. Hey, you know, Mungai, we're gonna win. So when they physically they are ready because so far they were physically ready for the battles. You know, and then I'm gonna coach beat then coach all the credit. Because if a team is not performing in the first half, you know in the second half, you may I guide and I have the amalum injection.
At changes you def tamit.
Yeah, that is the advantage of being there for a while. Even the great Ferguson was given time to settle down. So Hamnet players, unlike other coaches, he knows the Premier League. He knows every single player. Nekut coach Mohammed, I'm going to pick Matarr or Musa did it. He knows everything. Hamnet players, he saw them develop. So it's a difficult thing for the coach to do. The man understand is that we have two pros. I'm going to Spain. For now, she's already in town. For now, the place second leg week, and then for now, Adama Tamba is time to settle down. So we still have some weapons out there. You can hurt, anyone. So going to the second leg, I think it's a comfortable lead. To be honest, 2-0. Then the moment it's 0-0, and then we a very good statement to our opponent. Hey, these Gambian things mean business. So the thing look mentioned about this 9 weeks camp, this 9 weeks make a huge difference because Gambia they mean 1 month, 2 months, 6 weeks, 9 weeks. Yeah, this is good. But we will commend the FF for giving her that opportunity to motivate team before 9 weeks. Meaning physically and mentally they were ready. But so because camping they are dancing. So the atmosphere was fantastic. So this is more than the trend.
Yeah.
This early preparation is very important in anything. So we will have results. So we expect the guys to win again. In the Gambia, so on the 25th. So I think they should be. But last time I checked, they were in Ghana, trying to fly to Gambia. So to be honest, we are all happy for the Queens. They're doing good, both the under 20 and the national team. So the only thing affecting our football is our projects. Apart from that, the squad with them AFCON. Win. So it's all the projects. Projects No.
Contracts.
On the field stuff. On the field stuff, mom gange develop bahaban. But dama wanna content because mange set and chepe you try to play from the back, you build up play, you connect passes and all that stuff. I am no la de why man bu ma neka primary school game chepe. I li so to see now they are actually playing football. I was very happy. But guys, this is it. We are 1 hour 55. Bala New Tago, I just want to know, Matarr, swing game to anything Binyo Seralion. What scoreline are you saying? Lan is a prediction.
If the girls can score 2 away, they can score 3 at home. But I just hope they manage to keep it tight at the back. I'm going to go for optimistic 3-0. And please, if it's not 3-0, don't curse me. Don't bring the result back. But if I was in Bomb shoes, I would be aiming to do better than we did away. So if we can score 2 away, then the objective should be to score 3 at home. But obviously, the first objective is to make sure we qualify. So even if we don't get the 3, let's make sure we see the game out and we qualify for the next round. Yeah.
That's right.
But you came here. You never talk about your contract. People, you know, we want to know what's happening with your contract, Matarr.
It's not a platform to talk about his contract. I will step on it, and I wouldn't want Matarr to discuss his contract here.
Okay, coach.
Well, technically, look at it. If, as a coach, if you can go away and have 2 goals, you know, first to come Matarr, you want to come home and do better, and then doing better means you want to have a better scoreline. But I mean, the saying has to. It has to be said. The priority is Bin Balote Force. He said he wants to move to the next stage, and I think that is a primary objective. If we can score goals for fun, that will be like that will be a big plus to the team. But the objective is for us to just make sure that you know, it is we qualify to the next stage, and in doing so, we have to make sure that defensively we are all up for it, and make sure that we don't concede. If we don't concede, automatically we win.
That's right. Habibi, don't you reverse Manchester United scoreline? Then you win 4-2.
No, they winning 3-2. They were losing 2-0. You come back. You better win now. You better win in last minute.
So what is our scoreline?
Ras Bala Hatib di.
You will win the last minute.
Okay.
Ras Bala Madam, I'm not Hatib Latte. It's not about we want to be confidential. Please straight talk. But contract Bohamnale is under review. They have authorities in you. Come no one that go extending, so it will be very unprofessional for Matarr to come and sit here. Would discuss a very contract because Nico Ame, it's out of his hand. Hamnen signed contract. Hamnen Lulu. But we are just waiting for the authorities, and you make sure that you know that is done. So we are not trying to this straight talk. Matarr sign his contract. Man ma ko njëkk call nako waji. Then we want you to disclose your contract to Gambians because it's taxpayers' money. You know, if the FF is not ready to disclose it, then to large Matarr, and then it is up to him to move along. Why? The thing is, we have to be realistic. I think we don't have to.
It's undisclosed. You don't have to say it.
All right, guys. All right, guys. Matarr, we want to say thank you so much, and we hope you're enjoying the show because we were able to keep you here for 2 hours. Guys, thank you so much. Go on, Matarr. Your last word.
No, you did. No, that's why when Sana made the invitation, I said, yeah, I have to come and support you guys because, you know, whether people want to hear it or not, you guys mean well. You're there. You're doing it for the right intention. It's not about fame. It's not about anything. You guys are passionate, and you love Gambian football. And you want to see Gambian football move to another level. And there was no question of me not coming on. I said, let me come to support. Hopefully, more and more people within the game will come and support shows like this as well, because you know you're the link with the fans. You know, let's not go away and not show ourselves. Let's be accessible. Let's have platforms where you can ask questions, and Habib can ask me a question, and Sana can deny him from asking the question. You know, so I don't have to reply. That's a good one. So these are all things that I think was missing in Gambia, and you know, the using technology, using platforms like Facebook. You know, come on, let's open up. You know, let's be connected to each other. Let's see what's going on. Let's not keep each other in the dark so much.
I'm hoping.
I'm hoping that power. Sana is overpowering me. My own person. Sana just close me. Okay, good. No, it's okay.
I'm hoping that when we do have a tournament or when we do have a game, we would also have access to you to talk about games, pre-game or post-game. Yeah. That's something that we are really passionate about. Habibi, Jerejef guys, it's 10 o'clock. And I have to go bombard. No. Watch out. I like Kepal Sipet.
No, Matarr.
Wow. All right, guys. All right. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.